Everybody, it's Tony George along with Doug Upstone. We're talking, well, a tournament like none other. The wind whispering through the pines. The azaleas in full bloom. It is that time of year. 5 months removed from the last one, Doug. The Masters goes off this week. And been on a nice roll in the PGA. I've cased my last 8 tournaments in a row with my head-to-heads daily. So one more than we lost. We're up big this year, and of course, this is a great big tournament here, Doug. And interesting, they played about 5 months ago. Of course, Dennis Johnson won that one, and so an abbreviated break, Doug, before the tournament here.
Yeah, it's been odd, and the one thing that is from a betting standpoint, which is totally useless, is the results of that tournament, because the course will play completely different this time around and play more, let's just call it normal, that what we're used to seeing than it did back in November. So good for Dustin Johnson that he won, and anybody that finished in the top 20, from that standpoint. But going forward, like I said, it will have absolutely nothing to do with how this is going to play out this weekend at the Masters in Augusta.
Okay, well, I'm going to contradict you right out of the gate.
Really? Okay, that's good. Bring it on.
Yeah, there's a very interesting article I read over at VSiN recently that a guy that I respect a lot does a lot of golf work here. And we're talking about experience and past success at the Masters. And I believe you and I would not have an arguable point that experience comes into play. No first-timer has won this tournament since 1979. The last 10 champions of the Masters tournaments averaged 7.5 Masters appearances, before they finally won their first one here. And 8 out of the last 10 winners posted a top 25 in the previous year's Masters. So I thought that was a little bit telling here. Obviously, this brings out the best golfers in the world. This is one of the most coveted titles they want to win. Any major looks good on a resume, but the Masters is something special. I think it's kind of like, Doug, if you could even jump in here, the Masters and a Players Championship down at the Players is one they all want, for sure. Everybody wants to win a PGA title and a U.S. Open and a British Open, but amongst the Players, I think from a tradition standpoint, they like having a green jacket here. But before I flip over to you here about the experience and the past successes there, the last 10 winners of this tournament all ranked inside the top 30 in the world golf rankings when they won the tournament. So this does bring out the cream of the crop. And if you're not looking at them from a handicapping standpoint, Doug, in my opinion, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I guess I should clarify my point. And what I really meant is that the course itself is completely different. Okay, and so that was my point, because the course definitely played softer. There was no doubt about that. The other aspect, because Corey Connors was the first, I believe, the first non-winner to ever shoot 4 rounds in the 60s. That had never happened before. So when I say they can throw out the results, throw the results in the context of that the golf course, it will not play the same. The wind will be more prevalent as it is in the spring. That was more of what I was referring to, Tony. So, but yeah, to everything else you said, though, experience certainly does matter. And the other things that come into play here in terms of winning this, or let's say being a true contender, you have to be able to hit greens, and you have to be able to hit greens consistently. Scrambling, it'll come into play, but it's not as big a factor on this course compared to others. And the other aspect of not only hitting greens, you have to be on the right side of the greens. So if you're spending all day hitting greens, but you're 40 feet from the hole each and every time, okay, you're gonna not only 3-putt, too often. You're not gonna be able to lower your score nearly as much. Other key aspect, Tony, which I know par fives. the multiple champions in the last 20 years, they have gone out and they have been 10 under par or better on the par fives for the 4 days. So if you can do that and making birdies and eagles on those, you have an excellent chance to win.
Well, they tiger-proofed this thing back in like 2007 or 2008. They extended this out to 7,400 yards. I'm sure Bobby Jones rolled over in his grave, But at the end of the day, this does test every club in your bag. But it's not a bomber's course. I've been, obviously, 2013 was my last trip. And, of course, I've been down to this tournament 3 times. And the thing that amazes anybody who's never been there, that goes there and you've watched it on television, is the amazing elevation changes on this course, just how hilly and steep that it is. And there is not a flat spot on any green to putt. And there, as Gary McCord said, which got him banned from the CBS broadcast of the Masters, they are treated with bikini wax. These things are unbelievable. But at the end of the day, every Masters winner since 2008 has hit at least 68.7% of greens in regulation during the tournament. You have to hit greens. You have to position your ball on the right side of the fairway. It reminds me a lot of TPC Sawgrass. You could be in the fairway and be screwed here, especially depending on the wind. Also, you got to be, on the right section of the green. When you hit a green, you need to 3-putt from 25 feet is very difficult for almost any professional golfer to do, except at the U.S. Open and except at Augusta. Then you have a problem, So, and I think that's probably why Pat Reed won it here 3 years back or whatever it was. He could scramble, he can hit greens in regulation, and he can putt his ball, period. No matter what you think of the guy, he has a game that is built for this course. Mm-hmm. And I think the best players in the world are going to shine this week, Doug, on this golf course. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said there, Tony. I mean, just, it's right there. And, one of the things, and we'll talk about this briefly here right now, one of the things that you notice about this from a betting standpoint is if you look at the bets for the top 20, typically at any week other than a major or when, let's just say like the TPC where the best golfers, all get together, the top 20, you'll find some bets in the top 20 that are plus odds. And what I mean by that, so like plus 125 and such. In this event, looking at it, is that you have to go all the way to the 23rd spot to find anything that's plus odds. Everything is either it's minus odds or even for the top 23 players. So, so your payouts, or let's just say if you're wrong, you're paying extra juice for that. So that's a big factor in these events too.
Yes, it is. And if you take a look at some of the top players, and I'm going to give out a few picks here. Now, I do daily head-to-heads. You handicap these tournaments a little bit different. You could tell folks about that. But my daily head-to-head, so I'm pitting one golfer against another. Who's ever got the better score wins, and it's a money line bet. Now, if I want to I do a lot of top 5s and a lot of top 10s and to win outright on smaller unit bets to spread it around a little bit, But if you take a look at I think 4 guys here, they're going to have a lot of success. I was thinking maybe Jordan Spieth right up until he won the tournament this last week, because nobody's won a tournament the week before the Masters and turned around and won the Masters. And I think Jordan Spieth still has some flaws in his game that TPC at San Antonio is not going to expose like Augusta is. I think there's still some issues there. I don't think there's any issues with these players, these 2 players here, Jon Rahm and Justin Thomas, especially with Thomas coming off a Players Championship win. and you can get him inside the top 5 at plus 200. I think that's a great bet for Justin Thomas. As a matter of fact, Justin Thomas and Rahm both have the same exact numbers, top 5 and top 10. Both of them are plus 200 inside the top 5 and minus 110 in the top 10. As you mentioned, you alluded to, you go to that top 10, you got to go down about 25 spots where you find a plus number. But I think a couple of players that have been playing well lately and both continue to have a game that is built for this course. And a guy that I've ridden quite a bit in head-to-heads is Paul Casey. He's playing the best golf of his life. Inside of a top 10 for him is plus 600. And another one, the Aussie, I'll take Cameron Smith, playing great golf right now. He's got the temperament for this. Also, in this article that I read over at Visa, and I'll kick it back to you, numerous players that have won the Masters and have placed in top 10s in the Masters are very adept at placing in the top 20 or winning Riviera. You know, the Genesis Open now, which would be Max Homa, but I think this is his first or second trip here, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not going to put any weight on that. But Cameron Smith played that course extremely well and could have won that tournament. Paul Casey's played well, even at the tail end of what was an abbreviated season last year. And those are my 4 picks for top 5s and top 10s, Doug.
Okay. Well, you know what? I 100% agree with you on Jon Rahm. I have him in my top 5 as well. So, I mean, he has the complete package. It's just a matter, does he execute it? I mean, it just comes down to that. You also mentioned another name. He is in my top 10, and that's Paul Casey. And one among the many things that are great about Paul Casey coming into this tournament, Patrick Cantlay and Collin Morikawa are the only golfers in the field that have averaged plus 1.5 strokes per round from tee to green. Okay, so Tony and I, we were just talking about the importance of being able to hit greens in regulation. Well, that type of skill transfers well. Casey's played in the Masters 14 times. He has 8 top 10 finishes, and of those 8, 3 are also in the top 10. And recently, he's won at Dubai. He finished 5th, tied for 5th at Pebble Beach, tied for 10th at the Arnold Palmer, and was 5th at the Players. He's a solid putter from 4 to 8 feet and from 10 to 15 feet. And at plus 250, I like his odds to make it into the top 10, Tony.
Yeah, I've been to 25 or 30 golf tournaments, so I'm a huge golf fanatic, golf fan, and avid golfer. And I've seen him at New. He's a real small guy in stature. You would not believe how he's kind of a real small guy, but for his size, he has deceptively good length. He gets it out there a little bit. He can hit it around 300. He's got an all-around game right now. He's in his 40s. This is probably, I think, he has about a 12 to 18-month window to finally win a major. And I think of all the courses that are on deck right now, and if I'm him and I'm looking at the signs, this course is the best build for his game in the next 3 majors that are coming up. And I think his best shot's going to lie here. And I think you're going to see him do very, very well in this tournament. He's just golfed as consistent as almost anybody around, you know, and he did win down in Dubai. He had a chance to win at Arnold Palmer's tournament, and he was in the hunt at the Players for quite some time. He played well at Pebble Beach in some adverse conditions, you know, and the one person I wanted to throw out at you, two different takes real quick here. Your thoughts on Jordan Spieth? Actually, his game, he's finally won. His game is coming around. He's won a green jacket. He's won majors. He is a tremendous talent. He's still got plenty of youth. He's got length. Your thoughts about him placing here off the win? And then the other guy that everybody talks about every week, we can't leave him out of the conversation, Doug, Bryson DeChambeau, and his length. And I guess for the third part of the question, can DJ repeat in 5 months? Because he's obviously has a game for this course. I don't think you're not going to see 20 under like he shot in November here. But those three pieces of the puzzle are on everybody's mind.
Yeah, Spieth. To your first point, Spieth. You have to consider him a contender, but as you said, how far do you want to go? I mean, right now, the way with the odds are, and this is just to do with betting, okay? In terms of winning, I agree. I don't think he's going to win back-to-back tournaments. So I think you take that off the board. You get to the top 10, there's not much to choose from in terms of numbers for him in the top 10. So you have to put him in the top 5. Does he finish in the top 5? I'm going to say maybe. Okay, but I'm not sold on it. I think there's better options than him. Dustin Johnson, of course. Okay, Dustin Johnson might not be the best player in the world today. I mean literally today, as he was back in November. However, he's still definitely a main threat. And to be perfectly honest, Tony, I forget who the third person that you said. In terms
Bryson
what
DeChambeau.
The other one was. DeChambeau, he can hit it a mile. If he does, he's hitting short irons into greens, and he has days where he can really putt. There's like I don't even know how the right word to describe it. He just has a trick element about him that you just wonder about. And, it's like the higher the expectations, sometimes he meets them, sometimes he doesn't. He's not on my board and looking at anything for bets, but can he win? Yeah, of course he can. The talent's certainly there. And if you saw the video on Twitter where he was hitting shots at on the practice range with the driver, it was I would have pulled that probably at least 20 muscles trying to even replicate one of his swings. So that wouldn't be good. Now, one person I do like, though, Tony, for top 20 is Matt. Call me Matt, not Matthew Fitzpatrick, at plus 125. Not many people know that right now he's one of the best golfers in the world. In his last 50 rounds, only Dustin Johnson and Xander Schauffele have been more consistent, okay, and also should include Jon Rahm, in strokes gained from tee to in the hole, okay? He's one of the top 4 players in that in his last 50 rounds. Finished 9th at the Players, 10th at Bay Hill, 5th at the LA Open. So he has been on fire just in general. And so I like his odds. He's also in the top 40 in eagles, birdies, and scoring percentage. For a top 20 pick at 125, I'm all over Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I like that one there. And I also, like you mentioned him earlier, Xander Schauffele. I think he's contended in this tournament. He's played not as good a golf as he was playing, say, 2 years ago, and when he really burst on the scene and was really just in the hunt in all these majors. But I think he's got the game for this course, and I know he's worked. I talked to a guy that kind of follows him deeply, and he's really worked hard getting ready for this tournament. So I think he will be a top 20 guy. You don't have much love for my buddy Cameron Smith. He's played in some big-time tournaments, and he's played well.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, Tony, I didn't even have him on my board. So you know what? I hope you're right, okay, on that one. But I do have somebody to avoid, and that's Tony Finau. Okay, Tony, after playing so well for basically from the time that they came back from the COVID until he lost that tournament in extra holes, he was a top 5 golfer. But recently he's just been horrendous off the tee, which sets up his game, and then his putting stroke, which is not good to begin with. It has been horrible of late. What I'm going to be looking for, Tony, I'm looking for matchups with him. Now, this is personal betting because I do tournament golf, not the other say day-to-day or head-to-head stuff. But I'm looking to play against him as often as I can against where he has odds where they're either even or he's an underdog. I think he's just in a funk right now, and he's a bad play. You got anybody, Tony?
Well, you know what? You kind of gave away a little bit of my secret. I do daily heads-to-heads, and I'm looking to find guys playing against Finau here that are minus 140 or less on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to be looking for decent odds with Rahm and Thomas against some big name players. I think they can outplay. What I'm handicapping is strokes gained tee to green and putting numbers, and also on this course you do need to scramble. Again, Patrick Reed won this tournament scrambling and putting his brains out. It can be done. Phil Mickelson has won this multiple times here, scrambling and putting. When Phil's putter's working and he's hitting fairways, he's always been dangerous his entire career. The problem is he can't control himself off the tee box anymore. So that's a waste of money. I'll be looking to fade Phil in this tournament as well. That's one of my fades. His tee game has just been terrible lately. He puts himself in such bad. The problem with him is he's not scrambling around the greens. Phil Mickelson is scrambling on his second shot about half the round. So it's a good guy to fade. He does know his way around Augusta. But at the end of the day, folks, my two best bets are top tens, and I'll lay the minus 110 with both Rahm and Thomas. And on the top tens, I'll take Smith and Casey, both plus 600. Lean Paul Casey heavily. Looking to fade Finau, looking to fade Mickelson. Maybe looking to fade Cantlay too a little bit. I know a lot of guys are high on him, depending on what I can get on the daily head-to-head matchups. Thursday through Sunday, I will have at least one matchup a day. Don't forget DocSports.com. We got a free $60 and link in the description below. Now, Doug, you will have your picks out over at the website on Wednesday. Tell folks, I do daily head-to-heads. You do tournament bets. Tell folks what you got in store.
Yeah, and so what just to make some people are going to be maybe with the Masters, not everybody pays attention to golf, other than when the majors come around, and especially the first one, which is the Masters. So, like I say, Tony's is beating his head every single day to try and find winners. I try and do it ahead of time. So, as you just said, the plays come out on Wednesday for tournament golf. So, I am doing things related to how it's going to play out over the 72 holes versus as what Tony's doing on a day-to-day basis. From that standpoint, it's been a crazy year for me. I started off great. Then I hit a number of bad weeks, and it kind of goes like how the year has been, where guys coming off bad 2 or 3 bad rounds, all of a sudden they win tournaments. That's just kind of how it's gone. But came back with a winner last week with Charlie Hoffman, finished second at the Texas Open. So I'm very hopeful to continue that this upcoming week with some plays, like I say, and I'll have top 5s, top 10s, and top 20s, and looking to make you some more money.
Yeah, folks, if you don't like golf, let me ask, okay, so I'm 20 wins, 7 losses, 2 pushes this PGA season. Up over 52 units and up over $4,500 for a $100 player. You don't like golf? Let me ask you another question. Do you like money? Because you don't got to like golf to bet it. It's a money line bet. It's no different betting a baseball game. You're going to lay 110 with the Cubs over the White Sox? Well, I'm going to lay 110 like I did on Sunday with Charlie Hoffman over Tringali for the win on the final in round 4 of the Texas Open. You don't have to turn it on TV. Just walk up to the window and count the cash. Doug Upstone, I'm Tony George, Doc Sports, Masters Action. We got you covered starting Wednesday with Doug, starting Thursday with me. Thanks for tuning in. Best of luck.